For current and exclusive content, subscribe to CDE Lightband, connecting you at the speed of light.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Clarksville's Political Forum, brought to you by Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm Van Stokes, your moderator for today's session. And once again, today's forum is coming to you from the Customs House Museum and Cultural Center here in Clarksville. As always, this forum is intended to give you, the voters, an informed choice when you go to the polls to vote in the state, general, and city of Clarksville election. That's on Tuesday, November the 8th. In this session, we'll have the opportunity to meet and talk with the candidates who will be on the ballot for mayor in the city of Clarksville. They are, to my left, Mr. Joe Pitts, Mr. A.C. Lopez, and Mr. David Allen. We will begin this session with each candidate having 2 minutes in which to present opening remarks. Following this segment, we will then turn to our panelists for questions. Joining us as our panelists today, to my right, they are Mr. J. Albertia, Mr. Chris Smith, and Mr. Jimmy Settle. Now, each candidate will be given 1 minute to respond to each question, with the first response coming in a rotating order. At the conclusion of the questioning, each candidate will have 2 minutes in which to present closing statements, and the closing statements will come in reverse order from the opening statements. Our timekeeper for this session is Mr. Tyler Mays. As the top elected official in our city, the mayor oversees the administration and general supervision of day-to-day activities of all of our city departments. As the chief executive officer for Clarksville, the mayor is responsible for the formation and the management of the city's annual budget. Clarksville, long considered a regional hub for jobs and commerce, has experienced tremendous growth through the years. With this growth, the challenges have been many. As you can see, our candidates are ready for the questions and their opening statements, and we've got a lot of ground to cover. So let's get started. Now, let's hear opening comments from each of our candidates. First, we will hear from Mr. Joe Pitts.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Van. Thank you to the Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce and to Leadership Clarksville for hosting this political forum yet again this election season. My name is Joe Pitts. I have had the honor for the last 3 years and almost 9 months of being the mayor of my hometown, the city of Clarksville. But that's what I do. That's my assignment. That's not who I am. Who I am is a third-generation Clarksvillian. I'm a proud product of the Clarksville-Montgomery County school system, having gone to school at Burns Darden, New Providence, and Northwest High School, and then a graduate of Austin Peay State University. My wife, Cynthia, an ordained minister, is the chaplain at Tenova Medical Center, as well as the Tennessee State Veterans Home. We have 5 children, 5 sons, with 5 beautiful daughters-in-law, and of course 12 very bright, talented, and beautiful grandchildren, and the 13th is on its way early next spring. We love this city. What's important to us is the future, our faith, and our family. And that's why we are running for re-election for mayor of the city of Clarksville, and we would appreciate your vote. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have opening comments from Mr. A.C. Lopez.
Hey, y'all. My name is A.C. Big Sarge Lopez. I am a former Marine and retired combat veteran with over 21 years of military service. The opinions expressed today are of my own and not with any groups I have been associated with, past or present. Furthermore, I am wearing my personal military medals does not imply any endorsement by the Department of the Army, Navy, or the Department of Defense. During my time in the Army, I served as an equal opportunity advisor for over 9 years. It was very important to me that military members were not denied equal opportunity or were the victim of unfair treatment in virtue of their race, color, national origin, religion, sex, sexual orientation, age, or disability. Diversity is very important in the Army. This is one of the reasons why I'm running for city mayor. It is important that the ballot looks like the diversity of its people. I also hope to be an inspiration to the common person who aspires to get into politics, especially those in the underrepresentation class of the Latino, Filipino, and Korean American community. There are nearly 100 local elected positions, and there's only 3 from this class. Also, I feel that it's way far past time that a candidate with conservative values step up and run for this office and represent the average people of Clarksville and not only the downtown elite or the good old boys club. I pledge to do everything I can do to improve the community, including coming out of my pocket as necessary in areas that will be beneficial for everyone, up to $100,000 of my first year's mayoral paycheck. My campaign is about the people of Clarksville and improving their daily lives so they can safely and affordably spend time with their family. Clarksville is my home. I fought in 2 wars to protect my home and our freedoms, and if given the chance, I will fight for you, the people of Clarksville. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear opening comments from Mr. David Allen.
Good morning. I want to first thank the Chamber and leadership of Clarksville for hosting this forum, giving the viewers an opportunity to hear from all the candidates. My name is David Allen. I'm running for city mayor. I am a native of Clarksville, Tennessee. I went to Moore Elementary School. I went to Ritchie Middle School, and I'm a graduate of Clarksville High School. I love Clarksville, with the exception of the few years that I went away to serve my country in the Air Force. I've been here in Clarksville. I've seen it grow. I am the proud pastor for 20 years of Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church. I'm married to Wanda Allen, and together we have 5 children, 1 grandson, and 1 grandson on the way, February 2023. I'm a former city councilman for 12 years. I served Ward 8 from 2008 to 2020. The last 2 years I served as mayor pro tem. I've served under 3 different mayors, and I've gleaned something from all 3. I love Clarksville. I want Clarksville to be a place that my grandchildren grow up and stay here in Clarksville. I want to see it thrive, and therefore I respectfully ask for your vote.
Thank you very much to each of you for your opening comments. It's now time to turn to our panelists for a series of questions. First question is going to come from Mr. J. Albertia, and the first response is going to come from Mr. Joe Pitts.
Mr. Pitts, leadership is a big thing in this election. To start us off, why don't you describe your management organizational style and tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you, Jay, for the question. You're right, leadership is a very important part of being mayor and really important part of life. You know, my leadership style is to be inclusive, is to seek out opinions, seek out information. I'm a consensus builder. I like to seek out information and build consensus, but at the end of the day, there's one person who has to decide and live with that decision that's made, and so that's kind of my leadership style. I like to have disparate voices at the table and not just people who agree or think the same way, because that becomes an echo chamber. So it's about having people who have different opinions, different backgrounds, different viewpoints on issues, and then bringing those people together to cause a solution that benefits the greater good.
Mr. Lopez.
Well, thank you for the question. Leadership is very important. I learned that in combat, obviously. And so my organizational style is that, first of all, we have to get the subject matter experts at the table. They're the ones that know what's going on. Also, it's very important from time to time to get the subordinates or the regular city employees' opinions, because there's some things that is just an uncomfortable truth that the manager may or may not tell you about. So it's good to also inspect the workplaces to make sure that there is diversity, that everyone is being treated fairly and equally, and that there's no toxic environment going on, because that's unfortunately it's human nature. Sometimes the managers do not like telling their bosses bad news. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Allen.
Yes. My leadership style, I'm the type that believes that you should lead by example. I believe that as a group, you have to come together, sit down, learn to respect one another's differences. because our differences are what make us grow. If everyone agrees with you, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you probably should find another room to be in. I believe that we have so much talent, we have so many ideas, and we all are different. And God has given us all different gifts, and we have to draw from those gifts to make each other better.
Thank you very much. Let's go now to our next panelist, Mr. Chris Smith. Your question will go to Mr. Lopez for the first response.
Yes, Mr. Lopez, road construction has been an issue for a long time. It'll continue to as the city grows. What aspects of the Transportation 2020 plan do you support, and do you see some areas that need to be addressed that may not be covered in the plan?
None of it. I hate that plan with a passion, only because it does not do enough. I do understand that we are very limited in the budget at what we can and cannot do, and the bureaucracy is horrible. I mean, we got federal roads, we got state roads, we got county roads, we got city roads. I understand, but the prime example is when Bilby came to town a few months ago. Some low-level internet sensation, he broke Riverside. Broke it. 100,000 subscribers, and he broke Riverside. It took people 3 hours to get home from if they lived in the county, because Wilma Rudolph was horribly stacked. So the road infrastructure is the very, very first thing that we have to address in the transportation plan, and that's because we are taking away time from people spending time with their families. It's almost like we're back in the 90s with latchkey kids and stuff. So road infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, you have the next response.
Yes, the 2020 plan, as I look at it, I know that it's just a Band-Aid. I've watched over the years as we've kicked the can down the road, and it happens a lot here in Clarksville. We kick the can down the road, and then eventually somebody has to pick it up. I do think that there are some changes that need to be made to the 2020 plan. I don't think it addresses everything that it should address. I don't think it encompasses all that it could encompass, but it's a good start. I've identified some changes with it, and I would like to see us move forward, but I would be for expediting the 2020 plan. We can't wait another 6, 7 years, 8 years. We're already 15 years behind. We've got to get moving.
Mr. Pitts?
Thank you for the question. Transportation is certainly on everybody's mind, no matter what time of day you're driving down the road. The good news is it's a plan. It's a $500 million plan. The City Council approved both the plan as well as the funding. We have 13 projects that are underway, under design, preliminary design, right-of-way identification, or construction. Those aren't just road projects, but sidewalk projects as well as pedestrian crossings in key areas all across our community. We are running into a few barriers, but those are not insurmountable. But we are excited about the plan. It's all fluid. It's not designed to be a plan and then we wipe our hands and move on. It's designed to be fluid and to grow and to be added onto each and every year. That's why we're doing intersection improvements. We've added additional sidewalk projects that aren't in the plan. But I think the Transportation 2020 Plus plan is certainly there and a plan, and people know here's where we're coming.
Thank you very much. The next question will come from Mr. Jimmy Settle, and it will go to Mr. David Allen.
Mr. Allen, as you know, we're talking here about the highest office in one of the most aggressively growing cities and regions of the entire, not only Tennessee, but the nation. Can you recall a defining moment or event in your life that led you to decide you would want to be the mayor of Clarksville? What initially attracted you to the city's highest office?
Having served on the council, as I stated earlier, under 3 different mayors, I was able to glean some things. There are things about the city that I would like to see us move forward in. There are our infrastructure, number one. Everyone can agree that we need to move forward, and we must do it immediately. I've watched plans and plans and plans. We're the planningest city I've ever seen. In my 12 years on the council, there are so many plans that sit on the shelf. I decided to run for mayor because I want to get Clarksville moving in the right direction.
Mr. Pitts.
Jimmy, there's really no one moment or time. There's no one crucible moment. It's just a collection of moments in my environment growing up here in this community. But I remember in high school at Northwest as a student, I was very involved and very active and very engaged in local government in terms of keeping up with what's going on. In fact, I have a picture of me when I was 18 years old in a T-shirt that said JEP for mayor. One of my classmates gave me. Those are my initials. So it was back at 18 years old that the seed was planted that I wanted to be involved in public service somehow. So I'm just trying to pursue that passion to serve my hometown. I love this city. I can't say it enough. And serve the people here. But there's been no one moment. It's a collection of moments.
Mr. Lopez.
I also have several moments. I believe we talked about this last time in my county commissioner race. When I started knocking on doors for signatures and for votes, constituents were coming up to me and telling me their problems, their issues that they were having, like that they were pawning their family heirloom jewelry to pay for gas to go to work to afford to eat. It's foods that our older citizens were down to eating 2 meals a day because they couldn't afford their bills and things. And I decided that someone had to speak up to the people, for the people. And I was told that I couldn't. That because I wasn't born and raised in Clarksville, that I did not love this city enough to run for mayor. And that shook me to the core and said, you know what, it is time that there's a voice for the common person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We've gone through one round of questions. Let's go back to Mr. J. Albertia for the next questions. That will go to Mr. Joe Pitts.
Mr. Pitts, we've talked a lot about growth in Clarksville, and it continues to meet and beat all expectations of our growth. One of the things that is really growing right now is our downtown core. With the new F&M arena, new businesses going downtown. One of the big issues that is on the table right now is parking. Is the city and county working jointly enough to handle the situation of parking, or what should we be doing different?
Well, yeah, the city and the county are working together. The city council approved a parking garage behind the Roxy on the corner of 1st and Commerce Street. That project is currently on track and on schedule. We hope to be open by the end of next calendar year, just shortly after the arena opens. 580-ish spaces. There's 260 plus spaces already in the Cumberland garage, which will undergo renovation. The county is also building a parking garage on the corner of 1st and College Street that will provide additional parking for that end of downtown. My concern and my priority has always been to help those merchants on the core end of downtown, Franklin Street, Strawberry Alley, and that area first, help those customers, employees, and business owners that have been risking their capital for a long time.
Mr. Lopez?
Well, so I can tell you what the people want. They don't want a parking garage. They want to help the 2,000 plus homeless people that we have in the thing. But I do agree with Mayor Pitts. We do have to support our small businesses. Our small businesses are the core of our community, and so they have put a lot of risk, and they went through COVID and all these economical. Right now, we're in a recession, even though President Biden says we're not in a recession, but we're in a recession. And it is time to help them back. Because look, AC, I'm about as capitalist they come, man. Hey, anyone, make your money the way you can make your money. That's what I'm saying. And if the city can help you out, hey, let's help you out. But let's take care of the people downtown. They have done for a very, very long time, put their personal finances and well-being for the benefit of Clarksville. Thank you.
Mr. David Allen.
We do have a growing downtown. I have been instrumental. I've watched since the tornado, and I watched how it tore up our downtown and how that we've been able to come together. And I watched how when the government comes in and invests, and I like to use the term put skin in the game, it encourages private investors to come in. I remember a time when no one would buy a building downtown, and now you can't find space downtown. It started with the downtown commons, and now it's building up. I do worry though that we don't put all of our eggs in one basket. There's more to Clarksville than just downtown. We do have to remember that there are taxpayers who don't live downtown, and everything is not, there are small businesses that are not downtown. Everything is not just about downtown. I'm for small businesses, but I'm also for all small businesses, whether they're downtown or outside of town.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chris Smith, you have the next question, and it will go to Mr. Lopez.
Yes, Mr. Lopez, with limited city funding available, what are some city departments that you think need to be prioritized in the budget that may need more funding, or are there any departments you think that may be overfunded?
Yes, thank you very much. I was in the Army for a very, very long time. If I know anything, I know about government bureaucracy. We have positions that are not necessarily very important for the running of the city. And I will make this accusation that there have been positions in our local government that were made specifically for a certain person to get hired. We want to look at all city employees as in city positions to see if those are necessary for the future of Clarksville, because we do have antiquated some job positions in the city that may not be up to par technically, or we no longer need. So we have to look at those. Thank you.
Mr. Allen.
Our funding, for years I've had to look at budgets, and I think we have to really, when we look at a budget and look at a department, we have to really scrutinize it. We are stewards of taxpayers' dollars. It's not play money. It's taxpayers' dollars. It's very important to me that we make sure that we're getting the most for our taxpayers' dollars. We can't have that old saying, it's always been like that. Mm-hmm. It's always been like that. When I look at golf courses and certain things like that, it's not that I want to cut them out. It's just that we need to look at them. We have to make business moves. We have to look at things and see how we can improve them. And so I'm for our city employees. I think we have to look at the pay scale. We have to make sure we keep up, because we're losing city employees. One, because of a lot of times the work environment. Secondly, because of the pay. And we're only strong as our city employees, our city is.
Thank you. Mr. Pitts.
Thank you. To answer the question, as our city grows, so do the expectations of the public that demand services. I think about public safety in the police department. We've added more than 40 police officers in the budget in the last 3.5 years. Our fire rescue department has grown by more than 30 firefighters. We've added a technical rescue squad because many people are enjoying the Blue Ways. Our street department continues to grow because we've charged and tasked them with implementing the transportation plan. Parks and Recreation Department continues to excel, recently nationally accredited, exceeded or met all 154 standards. Very proud of them. I think about our IT department, how critical it is that we have a robust IT infrastructure. So there's not a city department that I would reduce their funding. It's just making smart investments in the people and the technology to make them more efficient.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mr. Jimmy Settle, you have the next question. It's going to go to Mr. David Allen for the first response.
Mr. Allen, property rezonings increasingly seem to become a battleground each month as we grow as a community. Why do you think this is happening, and is there a resolution to it potentially?
Dealing with rezonings is a tough job. It's a very tough job. As a council person, I've had to look at each side. You have some of your constituents want this and some don't want it, and yet you say you represent your constituents, and oftentimes you just have to make the best decision. Our city is growing. If we're going to have affordable housing, it's supply and demand. When there are no houses on the market, when there are no apartments on the market, then guess what? It makes all those things go up. We are a growing city. I like that we're using R6 more. I like that we're infilling more. That brings affordable housing, and that also keeps housing and apartments on the market.
Mr. Pitts?
Thank you. Yeah, rezoning is tough because you're balancing the need to meet the demand for housing or commercial enterprise or multifamily with private property rights. Many people move into a neighborhood and want it to stay just like that. Other people welcome and celebrate the growth that and the opportunity that growth brings. So it is a balancing act, and I think you have to study and review all the factors, look at potential impacts, positive and negative, that rezoning brings, and then vote your conscience. But it's a tough thing, especially as you're looking out in the audience and you see the faces of those who oppose a particular rezoning because they like things the way they are, but also recognizing the need that you've got to grow this city in a responsible way.
Mr. Lopez?
So that's a great question. It's a funny question because me and Mayor Pitts, first time we ever met, was over a rezoning issue. It's my thing. Like he said, I wanted to keep things just the way they was. Because it was affecting my deer and my turkey and all my animals that I have there. But rezoning is an issue. One of the things that the city, the people have told me that they hate about the rezoning, that is, first of all, it takes too much of the city council's time, and then second of it, non-elected officials are in charge of rezoning and presenting that rezoning to the city council. I feel that there should be some type of elected official of some sort to be in charge of the rezoning for everybody. Once again, the people just don't trust the rezoning process whatsoever, and I think it's time to take a look at it to make a change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have time for a couple of more questions. We'll go next to Mr. J. Albertia for the next question. It will go to Mr. Joe Pitts.
Mr. Pitts, cooperation between the city and county is very important as our city and county continue to grow and get more populated. One issue that's been brought out recently that is affecting all of us is our crime with our youth. The talk about a juvenile justice center, detention center has been brought up. I know it's going to be a relationship both between city and county. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it needs to be a juvenile resource center and not a detention or a punishment tool. The Clarksville Police Department created a juvenile engagement team specifically to keep juveniles out of the system. And it's working very well under the leadership of Sergeant Arthur Bing, who's doing a great job leading his group to engage the youth in a multiple ways, everything from sports to just community activities to leadership development. So while we support the idea of a juvenile resource center because we need something like that, we've got to get on the front end of that before they get into the judicial system and become a ward of the state or worse.
Mr. Lopez?
100% agree with the mayor. This is one issue that we can definitely agree with, is that I believe one of the biggest problems is the drug issues. No one wants to talk about it, but we have a drug epidemic in Clarksville. And I'm sad to say, and I said it last time during my county commission, methamphetamine, fentanyl is being produced in the county. It's being transported over the bridge to the citizens of Ward 5 and low-income housing and being distributed there. So when you see the arrest records and you're seeing that the arrest is more of the minority people that are being arrested for drug issues and they're juveniles, usually about 18 or under the age of 18, that tells you we should have a problem. That means what we need to do is get in front of it, like the mayor said, and maybe have some sports activities, some community engagements, anything to occupy the juveniles of our city so they don't have to turn to drugs for finances or anything like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. David Allen.
Yes, I too am for a resource center. I don't believe that a detention center within in itself is what we need. I do believe that we have to be proactive instead of reactive. But I do know that the government can't be all things to all people. I think it's important that the city and the county partner with all of these great agencies we have in town, in our city, to help nurture our youth. We may not be able to provide every program, but we can support those that are working with our youth. I've been doing that for years. I've in the church, working for youth villages. I know our children are important, and if we don't invest, we should invest in our children. Mm-hmm. We should invest in our children. And a detention facility is not top priority.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chris Smith, you have the next question. It goes to Mr. A.C. Lopez.
Yes, Mr. Lopez, as housing prices continue to rise across Middle Tennessee, and we have more people, working in Clarksville and or working in Nashville and moving there from Clarksville, just because of the housing prices. Is there any role for the city in having more affordable housing and helping families with some of these costs and helping bring down the costs of housing in our area?
Man, I'm going to make people mad right now. Rent control. Once again, I'm a free market capitalist as it comes. Make your money, buddy. Make your money. But you have to think about the money that you're making and how it's affecting the people. I believe as a growing city and as big municipalities have already proven that rent control is a good option, at least for the short term, not long term, just for the short term, that we can get the people, once again, that live in close to my neighborhood. They may be a little bit more low income. So maybe we do some type of city ordinance to put some temporary rent control relief so the people that are more heavily affected by the recession and may not have more disposable income, have them to have a little bit more so they don't, and maybe some tax relief of some sort. That's how we control that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
As I stated earlier, supply and demand. One way we can do that is by making sure that unless it's something real terrible, that we don't just vote down zoning cases because of the infrastructure. The infrastructure is bad. I think to tell someone they can't sell their land, they can't rezone their land because government hadn't done their job, I don't think that's fair. I also, when I served as the chair of Housing and Community Development, we built over 400 during my term units. Now I think we're at a slow pace. I think that area needs to be looked at. We are not maximizing our potential. There's monies on the table that we're leaving on the table. And I know this firsthand, that we're leaving on the table that could be brought into our community. We need to I think land that's open, vacant land, instead of auctioning it off, make sure it goes to someone that's going to build an affordable home on it. I think that is very, very important. Affordable housing is important. But the government can't just build houses like everyone thinks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Pitts.
Thank you. 3 elements to housing: labor supply, material supply, and then the number of houses. We've been at a record pace for issuing building permits for single-family, multifamily housing in this community for a couple or 3 years now, if not longer. We've got our faith community fully engaged in working with us on building housing. Mosaic Church and First Presbyterian Church have partnered in a Going Local initiative, so we're excited about that. We've got to get the private sector going, and they're building Section 8 housing, which is housing that accepts Section 8 vouchers, and there's a great example of that. Raphael and Teresa Porter have built a house in the Red River neighborhood specifically for someone with a Section 8 voucher, and it is not low quality, it is high quality. Low-income housing tax credits, Habitat for Humanity, the list goes on and on and on of things that are going on out there. But as our city grows, we got to continue to keep the supply of building permits up.
Thank you very much. We have time for one more question from our panelists, and that question will come from Mr. Jimmy Settle, and it will go to Mr. David Allen.
Mr. Allen, related to the previous question, jobs and quality of life and average household incomes seem to live at the heart and the center of mayoral leadership. With that in mind, what role should the city mayor play in economic development for the area?
I think it's very important. The mayor has an important role to play in economic development. I do feel that as a city that we've done a great job at bringing in blue-collar jobs. We have factories, they're growing, and it looks like every month or so we get another announcement. But I think where we're lacking is white-collar jobs. Our children are graduating, our grandchildren graduating from college, and they don't stay here because there are no white-collar jobs here. I believe that we should look at targeting those white-collar jobs. The jobs we have now, we need to look at getting the headquarters here in Clarksville. But to do that, of course, we've got to bring up a lot of our infrastructure. We have to bring up our quality of life. But I think that is a target. We should be working on white-collar jobs.
Mr. Pitts?
Thank you for the question. City government needs to create an environment where companies can not only locate here but grow here. I think we've got many of the elements that companies are looking for. Public education, a great public school system. Austin Peay State University continues to be the pride of our higher education system. We have to create a low regulation opportunity. Many of the jobs that are created are outside the city limits, but the city government provides infrastructure, as in water, sewer, natural gas, and we have to partner with the state because they are critical to our success by bringing not only prospects to our community, but also bringing resources in terms of training grants and road infrastructure improvements that they can make outside the city. We've got to create, and we are creating, the environment where companies can grow and thrive and add jobs. We've not had but one closure over the past 5 years, and we've replaced that.
Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. Once again, I've been all over this world in my military career. I've been to probably about 20-something countries, and a lot of countries that we maybe look a little bit down upon, the biggest thing that they have going for them is small businesses. Everybody has a business. Everybody has a side hustle. Everybody's in some way trying to make money. So I feel as a mayor, so one of our things that we can do economically, let's get small business. Let's support small businesses, please. When the Gladiator closed, the brewery, broke my heart. O'Connor's closed down, broke my heart. All these small businesses that were a staple at one time of Clarksville, I'll break it down because we don't have the city support for them to succeed. And small businesses is how we get things done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That concludes the questions from our panelists. We will now turn to the closing comments from each of our candidates. They will be given in a reverse order from the opening comments. We will hear first from Mr. David Allen.
You've heard a lot. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for the topics. For years, we've had mayors that some were progressive and some were not progressive. As our city grows, we have to have a mayor that is progressive. It's not enough to put things on paper. Performing Arts Center. It's not enough just to put it on paper, but you have to provide the funding. It's very important that we get moving. We cannot stay stagnant. We've been stagnant too long. No roads have been built. We built one road in the last 20 years. The city has actually built one road. We've got to get moving. We can't just talk about it. This is not about politics. This is about our city and moving our city forward. If you want to see us move forward, then I ask that you vote for David Allen for city mayor. Let's get moving.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear closing comments from Mr. A.C. Lopez.
So in conclusion, my political platform is to tackle the critical issues of traffic, taxes, and crime. My campaign promises are to reduce city traffic travel times by 10%, restructure the city's debt to keep the same tax rate or lower it, help the city police with training and equipment to better fight the violent crime currently plaguing the city. I pledge up to $100,000 of my first year's mayoral paycheck to the city or community project. For example, maybe a COVID memorial statue of Judge Grimes in with some remembrance bricks of all those who died of COVID during the pandemic in Montgomery County. Citizens of Clarksville, during early voting and on November 8th, you have a power to choose your next city mayor. If you want the same old good old boys club, you know who to vote for, and that is not me. But if you truly desire change and want to have smart growth, want to help elect a conservative for the first time in a long time and the first Latino mayor in the history of Clarksville, Sarge is your guy. I would appreciate your vote. The opinions of this forum are mine and mine alone. The constructive criticism given is not intended to harm any feelings or offer any insults, but to offer actionable suggestions to improve the shortcomings of certain areas of the city and the city management. My apologies to my opponents if I offended thee. It was not my intent. Lastly, my thoughts and prayers go with the Manna Cafe Ministry family. Kenny York was a kind soul and was an inspiration to what service to the community should be. Clarksville owes you a debt of gratitude that it can never fully repay. You were a true Clarksville hero. I salute you, Kenny.
Thank you very much. And we will hear closing comments from Mr. Joe Pitts.
Thank you, Van, and thank you to the Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce, to Leadership Clarksville for providing us an opportunity to express our views and answer good questions, and to the panel of questioners, thank you. You know, the beauty of our democracy is the competition of ideas, and so you've heard a competition of ideas here today, but my vision is quite simple. Clarksville first, that's our slogan, but it's more than just words, because in everything and in every way, we want Clarksville to be first. We want safety first. We want family first. We want to be first in diversity and opportunity, and certainly in patriotism, with Fort Campbell, Kentucky being at the heart of our community. But my first priority is to serve you with integrity and honesty, and we've done that over the past 4 years now in mayor's office and 12 years in the House of Representatives. My name is Joe Pitts. I am running for re-election for the City of Clarksville mayor. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you, and God bless you.
And I want to say thanks to each of our candidates here today, Mr. Joe Pitts, Mr. A.C. Lopez, and Mr. David Allen, for sharing your thoughts and your ideas on a range of issues. They've included your management styles, your transportation, thoughts about transportation plans, the growth, particularly in the downtown area, quality of life, economic development. When I look at the mayor's position, I think all things Clarksville, and that's what we've talked about today. More than that, though, I want to say thank you for being willing to serve our community in this position. Also want to say thank you to our panelists today, Mr. J. Albertia, Mr. Chris Smith, and Mr. Jimmy Settle, as well as our timekeeper, Mr. Tyler Mays. Thank you all very, very much. Remember, early voting for the state, general, and city of Clarksville election will take place October the 19th through November the 3rd. Now, the location will be at the Election Commission office at 350 Pageant Lane, or if you wish, the Clarksville Regional Airport. Once again, Election Day is on Tuesday, November the 8th. And I want to say thank you to the staff here at the Customs House Museum and Cultural Center for hosting today's forum. And also thanks to Leadership Clarksville and your Clarksville Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as to Rick Goodwin Productions for making this forum possible. Remember, November the 8th is your day to vote. Until next time, I'm Van Stokes. Thank you for watching.
You're watching Clarksville Community Network. Produced by Goodwin Productions. Powered by CDE Lightband.